All right, welcome. Today, we're going to break down England's new maths curriculum. Now, this is a pretty major shift, and it's all about building stronger foundations for every single student. So the big question is, what's actually changing?
Okay, so let's get right to it. The core problem? It's this number right here, 31%. That's nearly a third of all pupils in England who don't pass their maths GCSE by the time they're 16. I mean, that is a huge figure, right? And it has these massive knock-on effects, not just for their own futures, but for the whole economy. And, that number's even worse for disadvantaged students. So this is the challenge. This is the problem the new curriculum is really trying to get to grips with.
So, how are they going to tackle this? Well, we're going to break it down into 4 key areas. First, we'll look at how they've diagnosed the problem. Then, the plan to build much stronger foundations. After that, we'll see what targeted support is coming for students who are struggling. And finally, we'll wrap up with what this all means for the future of maths. Okay, so first up, what exactly is the challenge with maths in England? Now, what's really interesting is that the review makes it clear that the problem isn't actually the content in the curriculum. The real fundamental issue, well, it's something else entirely. And this quote from the review, it just gets right to the heart of it. So, you see, the issue isn't a lack of content, it's a lack of time. Not enough time for kids to actually absorb what they're being taught. The real culprit here, it seems, is just the sheer breakneck pace of it all.
And what's the result of that? Well, this is it. When you only have a superficial understanding, you might be able to follow a set procedure, tick the boxes. But as soon as you're faced with a problem that looks a bit different, a non-routine one, that's when students stumble. They've got all the pieces of information, but they just can't connect the dots to solve something new.
So the big question is, how do we fix this? Well, the first part of the solution is all about building stronger foundations. And this is key. It's not about changing what kids are taught, but changing when they're taught it. The whole aim is to get to a point of genuine mastery right from the very start.
Yeah, and this table really captures that shift in thinking perfectly. We're moving away from the old approach, rushing through content, which then forces a load of panicked repetition and catch-up work later on at GCSE. Instead, we're moving to the new approach, which is all about mastery over speed, getting that deep understanding, and building strong foundations from day one.
So what does that actually look like in the classroom? Well, it's a step-by-step process. In Key Stage 1, the absolute focus is on mastering number fluency, just getting those fundamentals rock solid. That then creates the base for Key Stage 2 to build on, where they'll secure things like multiplicative reasoning, and that's just a way of saying they really understand how multiplication and division work together. So by the time they get to Key Stage 3, they are genuinely ready to apply those skills to more abstract stuff like algebra, instead of, trying to learn it all at once and getting overwhelmed.
Now, of course, a massive change like this isn't going to happen on its own. It needs proper support. So there's a big push for much closer collaboration between primary and secondary schools to really smooth out that transition. And on top of that, teachers are going to get a new national digital curriculum product, plus more resources straight from the DFE to help make all this a reality.
Okay, but what about the students who are already falling behind? We all know a one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't work, right? So the review acknowledges this by bringing in 2 really key interventions designed to give targeted support. First up, there's a new diagnostic test in Year 8, and it's so important to get this. This is not another high-stakes exam. Its only purpose is to act as an early warning system. It gives teachers really specific data on where the knowledge gaps are so they can step in and help before those students even start their GCSEs. And the second intervention is for post-16 learners. Look, there's a real acknowledgement here that the current reset system just isn't working for a lot of students. It's basically failing them. So it's being replaced with a new, much more supportive Level 1 pathway. Think of it as a practical stepping stone for those who didn't manage to pass their GCSE first time round. And this new pathway is designed to be much more achievable. It's a 1-year qualification, and it focuses only on those fundamentals they might have missed earlier. And get this, the assessment is modular. That means learners can actually bank their progress as they go, which is brilliant for building confidence. The end goal is to get them to a strong Grade 3 equivalent, which puts them in a way better position to have another crack at the GCSE. All right, so let's pull all these threads together. What does this actually mean for the big picture of maths education in England? Well, the key message here is really simple. This is an evolution, not a revolution. And here's the crucial point to take away. The actual content of the maths curriculum isn't changing. The big change is in the method. It's basically a calculated bet that by slowing the pace down and making sure those concepts are truly mastered, many more students are going to succeed in the long run.
This new approach also does a nice job of clarifying how different subjects can work together. Let's take financial literacy, for example. The idea is that maths teachers will teach the underlying concepts, the tricky stuff like percentages and compound interest. And then citizenship teachers will help students apply that knowledge to real-world scenarios, like how to budget or understand a loan. It's all about letting each subject play to its own strengths.
But of course, all of this leads to the million-dollar question, right, doesn't it? The whole goal here is to improve outcomes for every student, but especially for those disadvantaged pupils who are most affected by the way things are now. So will this new, slower, more measured approach, will it finally be the key to closing that incredibly persistent attainment gap?
So, let's just do a quick recap. The problem? A curriculum that simply moves too fast. The solution? Slow it down and resequence everything for genuine mastery. The support? A new diagnostic test in Year 8 and a new pathway for post-16 learners. And the goal? Well, it's pretty simple. To make sure far fewer pupils get left behind in maths. Ultimately, it's a really focused, evidence-based effort to give every single pupil the time and the support they need to build a strong, lasting foundation.